Hey everybody, welcome to the Tattooed Chap. I'm Drew the Tattooed Chap, and today we're going to be talking about 56 Mike, the Religious Affairs Specialist, also known as the Chaplain Assistant, and kind of figuring out if this MOS is the right one for you. So tune in. Hey everybody, if you're tuned in today, then that means that you're probably interested in the Religious Affairs Specialist job in the Army. It is also known as the 56 Mike. That's the MOS designator, and also in prior years past. I guess prior years past is a little redundant, but it used to be called the Chaplain's Assistant, and a few years ago they changed the name to the Religious Affairs Specialist. So some people still call it one or the other. The official title is Religious Affairs Specialist. This is probably one of the best MOSs in the Army, and I'm going to explain a little bit about it, so let's tune in. The reason why I'm tackling this is because the Religious Affairs Specialist works hand in hand with chaplains. They are one of two MOSs, the Chaplain and the Religious Affairs Specialist, that fall underneath the United States Army Chaplain Corps. Their primary purpose is to serve soldiers in a religious capacity. But let's explain a little bit about what that looks like. So the chaplain is the person that is there performing religious duties. You know, if you're a rabbi chaplain, you're doing Jewish services. If you're a Christian chaplain or a Roman Catholic chaplain, you're doing your services. But the Religious Affairs Specialist doesn't actually perform any religious duties. They are there to provide religious services. And what's the difference between performing and providing? A Religious Affairs Specialist is there to help assist chaplains ensure that the soldiers in a unit, all soldiers, are being cared for religiously, that their religious needs are being met. But let's look at one of the definitions I found for Religious Affairs Specialist. A Religious Affairs Specialist is a person that supports the unit ministry team. Again, the chaplain and the Religious Affairs Specialists make up the unit ministry team, and they provide programs and worship services while also providing religious support for chaplains during missions and everyday activities. And so as a Religious Affairs Specialist, you'll assist in planning and synchronizing religious support activities, and that's for all the different faith traditions within your unit. A lot of the times that means, finding out what is the religious makeup of our unit. How many Catholics do we have? How many Jewish soldiers do we have? How many Christians do we have? How can we support all of those different faith traditions when we go out to the field or when we're in garrison? And you help the chaplain figure that out. And you work hand in hand as a team to do so. And also as a Religious Affairs Specialist, you have the same kind of confidentiality as a chaplain, where you have 100% confidentiality. Oftentimes you act as a peer counselor, or you provide peer-to-peer counseling, not as a person that is a specialist trained in counseling, but someone that's there to offer support when maybe they don't feel comfortable talking to the chaplain. And in an operations environment, chaplains can't carry weapons by regulation, and you as the Religious Affairs Specialist are there to provide safety and security for the chaplain. It is a very important role within the battalion because you are a two-person team that is there to take care of 500 to 800 soldiers and their families, and making sure that they're being taken care of religiously. Now, one of the other things that you'll be doing is on the weekends, you'll be on a roster and you'll actually help take care of one of the chapels. And you cycle through that, and it won't be every weekend, but maybe one weekend a month or something like that. You help with the different chapel services that are on post. Now, this is something that's important to point out. A Religious Affairs Specialist is not a particular religion job. You're not going to be a Christian Religious Affairs Specialist or a Muslim Religious Affairs Specialist. You actually serve across the board. Now, you can have your own faith tradition, but you are not only serving Christians or Muslims or Jewish soldiers. You actually serve everybody to make sure that they're being taken care of. One thing to point out, and this is something that might be important to some of you, is you may be, let's say, a Christian that signs up to be a Religious Affairs Specialist because you really loved serving in your home church. The chaplain that you get assigned to might be of a different faith tradition, perhaps a Muslim chaplain or a rabbi chaplain or a Buddhist chaplain, and that's okay. We understand that as Religious Affairs Specialists and chaplains that all soldiers have the opportunity to worship according to their faith tradition. Now, these are a few things that I think will help you know if Religious Affairs Specialist is right for you. So number one, if you care about our First Amendment rights as Americans, then being a Religious Affairs Specialist might be right for you. So the unit ministry team, one of its primary jobs is to ensure the free exercise of religion for all soldiers, no matter their faith tradition. You are there to make a way for them to be able to worship according to their tradition. You're there to protect soldiers' First Amendment rights. So no matter the religion, that is one of your primary jobs. Also, another way to know if this is the right job for you is if you're interested in religion and culture. Oftentimes those two overlap quite a bit. And as the NCO of your section, the unit ministry team, you are expected as the NCO of your section, the unit ministry team, to be able to either know or find the answers to religious or cultural questions for your leadership. Also, another way to know is if you are passionate about taking care of soldiers. As we talked about before, you will be a peer counselor and you'll have 100% confidentiality just like the chaplain. One of our primary jobs as a unit ministry team is to take care of soldiers in their darkest times. And so we have to be prepared 24/7 to be able to respond to people in need. So if you're passionate about taking care of soldiers, then this may be the job for you. And lastly, you have to be self-motivated. If you are not self-motivated, then being a religious affairs specialist is probably not for you. And why do I say that? It's because you are a two-person team, and sometimes the chaplain can't be around or isn't around for various reasons, and you have to make sure that the team continues. Let's use a worst-case scenario. Let's say that you are deployed in a combat zone and the chaplain loses his life or her life. You as the religious affairs specialist of that unit ministry team has to ensure that all the soldiers within your unit still has religious support. So it's important that you are someone that's self-motivated and that you can work together as a team. And again, you are a two-person team, and so it's really important that not just the chaplain carries the weight or not just the religious affairs specialist carries the weight, but you work together as a team. Every unit ministry team is either successful or a failure based on the relationship, oftentimes, between the chaplain and the religious affairs specialist. Both of you have to be committed to the religious support of your unit and the soldiers and the families that you serve. So down below, I'll put a link to the Army regulation that talks about chaplains and also religious affairs specialists if you want to get a little bit more information about it. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys and gals next time. Bye.